Good evening, everyone. It is Thursday evening, and I am bringing a very special live presentation for you tonight. This is, I'm going to be showing you the new standard Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So let's go ahead and get started. I just turned it on its side, but it came in a pretty large box, and so it was well padded when it was shipped to me. And then, but we do have to put it together. There's just a little piece that goes in that we got to put together. Hi, Jessica. Thank you for joining me. I'm showing the new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So I took it out of the box, and when I took it out of the box, it arrived like this. It was snug in the box, but the way the handle is, you actually have to put the handle on yourself, which is super easy. If you've taken our old machine apart and cleaned it out, this is a breeze to put this little handle in, and I hope that you can see it from this particular angle. But in a separate bag was the handle. And then there's a little, let me see if I can grab this real quick. There's a little Allen wrench, which these are handy to have for a lot of different things. And then there's a small screw, and then there is a little washer. And so we're actually going to go ahead and put the handle on, and from here you can see a flat side, and then you can also see the flat side on here. That way you can know how to line it up on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the screw through the washer, and then we're going to line up the handle, which is this way. Here we go. And then you'll see that the handle goes more inside, and then you put your screw on the inside. But if you want, you can go ahead and take your little Allen wrench and get your screw down in there, and then just twist it till it's tightened. If you've ever had to put anything together, you're familiar with these little Allen wrenches and screws and instructions. And there are instructions that come with the machine, so don't worry. You can either refer to this video or you can check out the instructions. It's in several languages, but, excuse me, there's the color parts of how to put your handle on. So I'm gonna make sure that was tight. I think it was tight. And you can actually use these wrenches a couple of different ways. If you want to use it more vertical, you can, or if you're of the type that likes the small handle and you want it more horizontal and you want to crank it that way, you can use it that way. But actually the handle's already on. So I'm going to flip this back on its side and make sure I can see that. And my handle's on. It's not loose. It's not any looser than what it is probably already designed to be, because I did do that pretty tight. So I think we're good on that. Now, in order to open it, I'm just going to turn it sideways so that you can see both sides. These sides, I don't know if you heard that, but I've got two boys upstairs. I told them to be quiet. They fold out like this. So that's what it looks like folded out, which is a good 6 inches wide. It's very easily wide enough to be able to pass through our 6x6 embossing folders. Now with the machine also comes these plates. So let me put that just off to the side, and they are super simple to follow as far as directions. This actually is, this particular plate is going to be plate number 1. This is number 2. Our clear cutting plates are 3. And then there's this plate, which is number 4. Now, on each one of these levels, it tells you how to build your sandwich. And that's what Stampin' Up! Refers to when you're going to emboss or you're going to die cut a piece of paper, is your sandwich. So we're actually going to start. I didn't use this earlier. I was saving it for this evening, even though I've had it all day long. But we're going to do this first little section here. Goodness, they're making noise up there. Where you use this with thin dies. And I went ahead and just took the die from Celebrating Sunflowers, and we're going to just die cut that. Now, not all of the pieces are available right now, like the magnetic board. That's coming out at a later date, and then right now only this larger standard one is available. So based on our sandwich, to use our dies, it shows you we're going to use plate number 1, and then we're going to use plate number 2. So let me grab number 2. And then you see there's a 3 before and after the image and the paper. So let's get a 3 on here. I'm going to move these up to where they're more in line once I get it running through the machine. I'm just showing you how to do this particular sandwich in order to cut out one of the dies. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then it wants our paper and then our dies. So I'm just putting a piece of paper down and putting the dies face down. Now this is important too. When you have dies, there are 2 sides. Hi, Ophelia. I think I just waved and did it right. I hope you can see these sides. This side is more flat, and then the other side of all our dies, you can see the grooves around the edges. That tells you that's where it's going to cut when it goes through a machine. So we want those sides down. And when it runs through, you're also going to hear maybe some cracking, and it's the plates being broke in, these clear plates being broke in. That still happens to this day with my old machine using the other plates. And so that's that step there. And then there's a 3 on top, which is the other clear plate, because you want to protect the top of your die. Now what I'm going to do here is kind of put them all together, because they have to be even when they go through your machine. So you want the sides, both sides, to line up, and then you're going to insert it on this part of your machine. You can get it going with the handle, and then with the rest of the way, just hold on to the handle. And as it pulls through, oops, I need to get a better grip on it. You can actually feel it when it goes through, and you can feel the pressure that it's, I'm going to pull this back a little bit. You can feel the pressure of when it's cutting your die. That's a pretty clean die right there. And then you'll see if I can get this off there. There we go. Now you have your sunflower. Let me set that aside. And you've got all these pieces on there. And normally you can just go like that, and they'll all start to fall out. If for some reason you had some really detailed dies and they wouldn't come out, you can always use the brush part of the Take Your Pick tool and just go over it, and that helps pop them out. Just do it from the front side. But those all popped out pretty clean, so that's the die. Now what you're going to see on the paper after you pull up your die, and this is true even with the other ones that we had, the old ones, you see how it left an impression. Let me see if I can see that. I don't know if I can see that, or if y'all can see that, but it left an impression of the sunflower. That's normal for these plates. That's how you start breaking them in. So when you use the plates, you can use this whole surface. So you don't have to just stick within the middle, because you want them to evenly wear down. And then at a later point, if you need to flip it over, you can flip it over and start using the back clean side. But it will leave an impression of whatever you just die cut, and then the more you use it, obviously the more impressions you're going to get, and you'll be able to tell, okay, next time I use that die, I probably want to put it over here on this side so I can start getting that side used up, or maybe up higher to the left. But just keep in mind that on these plates there's beveled edges, so you can really only go so far up to the end before it starts to kind of go down to the bevel, and that bevel just helps this piece go through the machine. So that was with a die. Now if you had a die that was really detailed, you might have to add like a shim or something to it, which really is just an extra sheet of paper or something to help give it a little bit more thickness as it goes through the machine. Now on all these plates, it tells you at the bottom of each one of them that this is not a cutting surface. So what that means is you don't want to put your dies directly on this surface right here. If you start using this and your die cutting edges are facing directly on here and there's not any protection with the clear ones, then you actually are going to start, a lot of this wording and the pictures will start to, you know, erode, and you may end up having to buy a replacement later at some point. So, but just know that with the embossing machine and the die cut machine, all the plates that I showed you a while ago come with the machine to help you get started. Now, this second part right here is the sandwich for a standard embossing folder. So it's plate number 1, then a clear plate, and I've got these little glue dot, the dimensional things everywhere over here. Your folder and your paper in the folder, and then another number 3 on the top. So let me put this down in there, and I have a standard embossing folder, and I pulled out woodland, and let's just do, I got some cut pieces over here. We'll just pull a piece of crumb cake, and let's emboss this woodland. So we've got plate number 1. I'm sorry, just right here. Plate number 1, a clear plate, which is number 3, this, and then we're going to put a number 3, the other one, right on top. So let me grab that, and then we're going to run that through the machine. Always run it just in one direction, and when you enter it in there as well, also make sure that the part that gets entered into the machine is the folded part first, and then just run it through one way. That in there we go, and then hold on. Just crank it clockwise, and then when you're done, you have your embossed piece of cardstock. Now we have a lot of embossing folders, and this is a standard one. I think there's only like 2 of them in our catalog that are standard, and all of the other ones are called 3D. So I'm going to show you how to use the 3D one. But you can see there's an impression, and then, well, there's a positive part to this, and then there's the back side, which, you know, depending on your die, you might want to use the back side. But that's the impression that it makes on the front. Now, at the bottom of this, you can also see that it says, this is the sandwich for using a 3D embossing folder. So it's number 1, which is this plate right here, and then your piece of paper inside of your embossing folder, and then number 4. So let's get that, and let's just use a piece of this Mary Merlot. And the 3D embossing folder that I chose is the Old World paper, which goes with one of our new suites in the annual catalog, and I can't remember which one it was, but I'm just lining it up because on a lot of our embossing folders you're going to see a line, so that it helps you to line up the paper, so that you know if you're going to be doing something and it's going to come out crooked. So we have number 1, then the embossing folder with a piece of paper inside, and then you have number 4. So let's put that on there, and then number 4 was the impression mat, and then let's run it through. So Stampin' Up makes it super easy, and that's normal as it goes through. And then after you pull your paper out, you have this embossed look with old world paper is what it's called. And then there's the back side. So really, it just looks like a crumbled piece of paper that we've undid, but you could use both sides. I actually kind of like the raised side being on front. But that is your sandwich. Those are your 3 sandwiches right there. The top one is when you use thin dies. The middle one is for your standard embossing folders. And then the last one here is for your 3D embossing folders. Now, the only difference between plate number 1 and the magnetic plate is when we were using our die, we would use the magnetic plate in place of number 1 on this sandwich, but the magnetic plate is not available just yet, and the magnetic actually helps hold your die in place. So I'm sorry I don't have one to show you right now other than the old one, but that's the difference between this particular plate and the magnetic plate that will soon be released. So there are a lot of questions and answers. I'm going to turn it sideways like that so you can see my blog spot and then my website as well. But there is a lot of question and answers that's available, and so if you have any questions about the machine, feel free to let me know. I will tell you that right now these machines are not available to the general public because they're only available to demonstrators right now. So the only way you can get one of these machines right now and through the end of this month is to join my team. The machines are $120, but not only do they emboss, but they do all kinds of die cutting. And then don't forget, if you're taking this to go, they fold, and I'm going to do this slowly because it snapped on me earlier. There we go. It's very compact, and quite honestly, we have a smaller version that's coming out at some point next year. We're not exactly sure when it's coming out, but we will have even a smaller version of this, and that smaller version is when you can use, in our annual catalog we had mini dies, so it's the ones that are like half the size of a regular die. That's what these were designed for. But you can actually still use them in this machine, and in fact there's a lot of what can I say, there's a lot of things you can't do, and I guess the general rule would be only use this machine with Stampin' Up! Plates and you'll be safe. You can use our things, where'd they go? You can use our embossing folders and our dies with other machines. You may have to adjust your sandwiches, but it's not recommended that you use other products other than what comes with this machine, because this machine is exclusive to just Stampin' Up! I know in the past Stampin' Up! Has marketed with some other companies and rebranded items for Stampin' Up!, but in this case this machine is exclusive to just Stampin' Up! So I'm going to turn it back on its side so you can see what you would see on the front side. Now, as far as it being a host when it's released to the general public, this does not qualify for a host 50% off item, but the small one will be, the mini Stampin' one will be. So just keep that in mind. This weighs just a little over 8 pounds and has a 3-year warranty. And then all the plates that you need to work this, let me get rid of some of that there, are included. So all of these 5 plates, let me grab the other one, come with the machine. And then at the same time, all of these plates are also replaceable. You can get replacements as well if something happens to one of them and you can no longer use it. So let's see, what else? You don't have to buy plates. They have a 3-year warranty. Can you use the plates from the mini Stampin' Cut Emboss machine into the standard one? The answer is no, because the plates are designed to work with the machines they correspond to and not each other. And can I use the plates designed for the Stampin' Cut Emboss machine and other die cutting machines? And it says no. We do not recommend using Stampin' Cut Emboss plates in other machines, which they're referring to these plates 1, 2, 3, and 4. So basically, when we go through the Q&As, it's pretty simple. Try just to only use the plates that came with the machine. and you'll be safe. And then the same goes for when the mini one is released. So I hope you guys enjoyed that small little demonstration. I am planning on using it this Sunday in the Facebook Live at 3 p.m. But I only put this on here, so if you are interested in finding out what it's about to join my team, you can go to my blog. There's a whole page that says join my team, and then the same thing is on my Stampin' Up website directly. You can hit the join button and read all about it, but that's the only way you're going to be able to get one of these machines right now. And honestly, I have to let you know, I only paid $20 for this machine. I know some people got it absolutely for free, but when we had bonus days last month, I was able to accumulate enough bonus codes to where I only had to pay $20 for this machine. So I had $100 in bonus codes that I used when I ordered this a couple of days ago. So that was pretty exciting, and a nice way to be able to use my bonus codes. And I used them up pretty quick. So because this machine was $120, so after my $100 in bonus codes, it was 20 bucks. So that was a really great deal, and I paid some shipping, so no big deal. But that is our new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And if you have any questions, you can leave me a question on the comments section, or you can private message me and I will get back to you. Good evening, you guys. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.